I beat every mission in GTA San Andreas within a week of getting it as a present on Christmas Day of 2008. It might not seem like much, but being a teenager at the time in some middle of bumfuck nowhere town, it was one of the pinnacles of my life's achievements. At the at the time, ignore that. The only other thing I held in such high regard was my prize CD collection consisting of every shitty nu metal band that you could think of based on that. You'd probably assume I'm a big fan of the game. Well, prepare to be disappointed. there was something that happened that made me stop playing San Andreas forever. Something I still can't explain to this day. It was the summer of 2010. Usually, I would have been outside with my high school pals, but it was a brutally hot day. You took one step outside and all of a sudden you were boiling alive. I laid in my bed for a solid hour, bored out of my mind. Then with some resolve, I dragged myself out of bed to go rummage around the closet. It had been awful since It had been a while since I played San Andreas, so I decided now was as good as any. I fished my PlayStation 2 and box of games out. After fighting with the maze of wires behind the dresser, I got everything plugged in. With the San Andreas disc in the console, I thought I was set. Nope. My heart dropped as I saw it. The accursed error screen with the red fog, or as some like to call it, the red screen of death. Honestly, part of me wanted to just call it a day and watch TV instead. However, I relented. With the disc in hand, I wiped it with a cloth and held my breath as I put it back in the disc tray. The game booted up with no issues, and I breathed a sigh of relief. The first thing I noticed was that the intro credit cutscene was completely silent. I turned up the volume on the TV, and still nothing. In the moment, I didn't really find it odd. I was annoyed more than anything. Then as the cutscene progressed, it became so dark that you couldn't see anything. Assuming it was due to the disc being faulty, I skipped the cutscene and went straight to gameplay. The game played as normal, no sound issues or anything like that. I killed a few pedestrians and used a jetpack cheat so I could fly around. And soon enough, I found myself lost in the gameplay. However, after some time, I noticed something on the minimap. There was an icon for a mission that made no sense. As I already completed every mission in the game. Not only that, but the mission icon was smack dab in the middle of Backo Beyond. If you've ever played, you'd know it was a forced error with no significance to the story. Regardless, I made my way over to the mission. Sure enough, there it was, in the clearing next to some trees. I stepped into the highlighted red mission area to activate it. It was then that the game froze. But in the split second before the game froze, I saw something move in the corner of my eye. Something in the woods. After staring at the screen for a few seconds, I restarted the PlayStation. Once I was back in the game, I noticed the mission icon was gone. Oh well! I went and played the game like normal, using the cheat to stock myself up with weapons while going on a rampage and battling out with the police. With the police hot on my tail, I ran into the woods of Backo Beyond. Then something bizarre happened. My one level completely vanished. The weather had changed too. Now it was foggy and night. I went over to the spot where I had seen the mission marker last time, but there was nothing out of the ordinary at this point. I said screw it and put in the cheat to spawn a jetpack. Nothing happened. I tried it 3 more times to no avail. Since cheats were not working for some reason, I ran out to the closet road and waited for a car to drive by so I could hijack it. 30 seconds of waiting turned into a minute, then 2 minutes, and before I knew it, I had waited 3 minutes with no car in sight. The roads were completely barren, just fog and trees as far as the eyes could see. CJ was standing there looking just as confused and annoyed as I was. Just as I was about to put the controller down, I saw hazy movement in the tree line. With a deft grip on the joystick, I sprinted to where I saw the movement. Nothing. I was certain it was game textures playing tricks on my eyes. I jogged all the way through Backo Beyond and in the shady creeks, determined to find whatever it was I saw. Throughout the entire journey, I thought I saw movement in the trees, only to realize it was some fog or a bush. When I approached the shady cabin, I became acutely aware of something peculiar. A sound. Breathing. It seemed to be the same deep breathing the sound that plays when CJ enters stealth mode. But the more I listened, the more I was convinced it wasn't from CJ. It seemed to be coming from behind him. I spun around, only to be met by another frozen screen. The game sound stuttered repeatedly. sounding like nails on a chalkboard. This time, however, I could see something on the frozen screen, something tucked far away in the fog, a blurry figure. The next day at school, I told my friend Xander about it. His response was to laugh and say that I was a fucking liar. But after some convincing, he agreed to come over after school so I could show him. Xander made his way over to my house at sunset. Once I got the multiplayer mode set up, I found it was difficult to convince Xander to follow my lead. He was more preoccupied with murdering pedestrians while screaming obscenities. After a while, he got bored and finally agreed to follow me. I led him to the woods of back and beyond, and soon enough, the same thing happened. The weather changed to a foggy night, and pedestrians stopped spawning. Xander became silent. I got the impression he was kind of spooked. We searched the area, occasionally cracking a joke to break the silence. We found nothing, so I decided it was a good time to take a quick bathroom break. Once I came back into the room, I noticed Xander was pale. He started barraging me with a bunch of questions, and then accused me of modding the game. I tried to explain to him that it was practically impossible to mod a PlayStation 2. Then he told me what happened when I was gone. He had seen what he described as a thing in the fog. After trying to shoot it, the screen flickered and the thing was gone. As creepy as it was, it also boosted our excitement. We decided then and then to pull an all-nighter in an attempt to find out whatever the hell was going on. Hours flew by. Countless sodas were downed, and bags of chips devoured as we searched every nook and cranny in the woods of Back O' Beyond and Shady Creek. We made our way to the Shady Creek cabin, and I was certain we would see something crazy. But nothing happened. At one point, we both swore we saw movement in the far distance on Mount Chiliad. I wasn't entirely sure if we were just psyching each other out and seeing things at that point. Naturally, we began to grow tired and bored, and before long, we both dazed off to sleep with the game still running. When I fell asleep, I had a bizarre nightmare. I found myself inside the game being chased through the woods of Back O' Beyond by something I couldn't see. No matter how much I ran, the woods went on and on. I don't know how long I was out for, but I remember being woken up from my sleep by Xander. He told me in the trembling half whisper, half shout, to wake the fuck up. I did, and then I understood why he sounded so freaked out. There was an eyeball filling the TV screen, bloodshot. Behind it was only darkness. At that moment, I was convinced it was staring directly at us. All the while, that eerie breathing sound emitted from the TV speakers. I practically pissed myself as I grabbed for the controller, started rapidly pressing every button. Just then, the screen went black, and the sound began to stutter, before it turned into an unbearable screech. I rushed over to the PlayStation and yanked out the power cord. Silence. Just like that, it all stopped. Xander and I looked at each other, and I imagined he was thinking the same thing as me. Holy shit. Xander and I agreed we wanted nothing to do with the game, and I sold it in a garage sale that my family decided to have a week after. I tried to post about it in some GTA forums, but I was laughed at and told that I was an attention-seeking dipshit. And that was the end of it, or so I thought. After a month, I logged into the forums and noticed I had a message in my inbox. The sender had no username attached, but there was something in the message. A single picture. The picture that was in the message is something that gives me chills every time I think about it. It was a picture of me and Xander passed out on that night. It was taken from where the TV was, and that was corrupted. The GTA San Andreas creepypasta. Like and subscribe.